Hey everyone, this is James, the Ghost Set Killer, and I want to tell you, I got a guest today. It's a quick check-in. Good friend of mine. I had a really stressful weekend with some major things that you guys will hear about later in the pipeline. And he was a really good friend this weekend and really just talked me through a lot of stuff. So I want to do a check-in, and this is a quick check-in. Literally, I texted him 5 minutes ago and was like, "Hey man, you want to come on a podcast?" And he has his own podcast studio because him and I do an in-house podcast for Fix Network. So he's got this really awesome studio. Well, right now he's at his warehouse preparing shipments to go out for everyone's vehicle protections, that they get with their nice big embroidered. So today's guest, who's our guest today?
Oh, you want me to say my own name?
Yeah, please. Because on the screen it says Jennifer Curbow.
Oh, does it really?
It does.
Okay. Oh, yeah. Well, apparently she ghost set into this
Yes.
little note
Yes, she
for you.
did.
Uh, so my name is Fabio. No, I'm kidding. My
Ah.
name is Matt. Everybody out there um, doesn't really know who I am. I go by Mac. My full name is Mackenzie. Yeah, and here I am out in the warehouse doing some sewing.
Yeah, so we had a show, Mac and I had a show my very first season. It was like 5 or 6 shows in, and it's still one of my most listened to shows, and it's called Hey Mac, and it just talks about our journeys in auto glass. Well,
Hmm.
we have been talking about doing a show together since then. And it's been, hey, you want to do this? Hey. And then we started one in house when I became Fix's national trainer. And then it's like, hey, so I'm going to put you on the spot, sir. Will you do a monthly show where we talk about Glass Bites articles or we talk about things going on in the industry? Will you do that show?
Absolutely, without a
Yes.
shadow of a doubt, I'll do that show. Can
So
add
I
the
think,
editing that I usually do on our in-house stuff.
yeah, I think I'm gonna have you do the editing so that show actually pops and stands out. So we'll probably record it in your Riverside studio because we have. So for everybody who's listening, I have a Riverside studio. Mac has a Riverside studio, but Mac's edits are so superior to what I do that it's just amazing. You should see the difference between the shows in house and the shows that I produce out of house. They're night and day. I think you guys are in for a treat when we finally do a show where Mac's at his studio. So let's shoot for our first show to be. Do you want it to be April or May? You want the first show to be April or May? So that way you have plenty.
Let's go April. Let's do end of
Let's
April.
go
I think
April.
that'd be a good goal. Good life
Okay.
goal.
Okay, so at some point in April, you will see a show with me and Matt Curbow, and Mac's editing abilities will pop off of the screen, and you guys will fall in love so much he might end up editing all my shows. I'm just saying, you know what I mean? But still, he ain't got time for that. He ain't got time for that. Between Fix, Curbow covers, now the podcast, the uniform company that he's got, his merch line that he's got with Curbow covers, the t-shirts that he's going to be putting out for us. I mean, like this man's got no time for anything. You are just you go hard in the paint, sir. That's been so much respect with working with you. Just realize how hard in the paint you actually go. So, is there anything new on the front of production of new products for people?
Well, right now we're working on a few different things. You just dropped a few things that we were going to hold off on for a minute, but
Oh fuck!
I'm just messing with you. No. So you're actually going to be repping some of our stuff. I'll have to holler at Jen and have her come over here. She can show off our some of our merch stuff that we got going on because we're going to start doing merch. One of the things that I've always wanted to do but never got a chance to was actually build in some nice merch for our stuff. But you know how I am, man. I like to do everything to the nines, so I've been
Yes.
kind of slowly. So Jennifer over here is actually wearing one of our sweatshirts we're going to be launching. So
Ooh,
yeah,
like the lime green, the black on the lime green, the straps,
yeah.
the strings. Those are cool. Those
Yeah,
are
we got
cool.
quite a few. We got quite a few. You're gonna be getting somebody coming your way. But the big thing that's on the horizon is we're actually just entered into a partnership with one of our favorite tool companies from way back in the day. And I don't think that Clint would have a problem with me dropping that here now before we do our actual podcast with him. But it's with Clint with Rammer Jammers. So we're going to be bringing back one of their products that they stopped doing because they weren't able to produce it anymore. And we tagged in and said, hey, let us help you produce it. So rather than
And
just stealing the idea and just running with it, we actually reached out and said, "Hey, let's do this together as a partnership, and we're gonna team up and bring back a much missed item."
Oh, a
So,
much missed item. So, and are you going to be able to drop that? You and Clint come on the show and drop that announcement on the show together. You think?
oh, absolutely, definitely, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
I got a bunch of parts and pieces that I brought in house to make this happen, and I'm excited for it. Man. It's gonna be fun. It's gonna be a lot of fun.
it's going
So,
to be a lot of fun. There's a few things that has been hinted to me that obviously I dropped the ball on a couple of them, but there's one that is coming my way from my understanding that I am super excited about, and my friends at the Autoglass University are super excited about. So I'm not going to say what it is, but just know that when it comes out, I believe you guys are going to be blown away, and I think it's going to be a cool. I think it's going to be a cool
yep.
add-on. I really do. I really do. I think it's going to be a
Well,
cool add-on.
I think it will be cool too. You know, it's one of those things where it's one of those situations where one of the things that for me at least, and what I do is I take a long time to put stuff out because I like to really make sure it's going to work. And it usually goes through several iterations before we finalize it. And this is one of those. So this one has actually been something that we've been kind of toying with for, oh gosh, James, I think, well, I'm going to say probably the last few years easily. But we finally kind of came up with some new ideas that we really wanted to put out there because it's a pretty common item that's out in the market already. But we wanted to just not just dump more noise. If we were going to release something like this in our line, we wanted to make sure that it was something that actually brought something unique to the table.
Hmm.
So I mean, I can, if you want me to, I can officially announce it on here. I won't show it because you guys can all wait to see that drop on Monday officially. But
Yeah. Go ahead, because this show comes out in a
when are you
couple
going to
hours.
drop this, buddy? It's
About
going
an
to come
hour.
out today.
Yeah, gonna come about an hour or so.
Oh, okay, about an hour today. So okay, so it's Sunday right now. So you guys are going to see a little tease of this on Monday, and then we'll officially drop it. But I am going to be introducing a what we're going to be calling the micro cover. It's a small standard style hood cover that everybody's got. I mean, it's a very common thing, but we wanted to put our flair on it. So basically, it's going to be just an entry level cover. It can be great for repairs and that kind of stuff. But James, after you and I kind of did some back and forth on this cover, we decided that we're gonna throw the pockets on it like we have on everything else. We're gonna have a little key holder on there. You know, all the common things that we do anyway.
Hmm.
But Jen actually came up with an idea for it that was really why we decided to go ahead and launch this. And it's gonna have what it's gonna have what we're gonna call the roll rail. So it's going to have a stitched in rail that goes down each long side on it. So when you drop your tools on the hood, or set your tools on the hood on that tool, specifically repairs, because I mean, do we all do it? We got the little
Yeah,
probe in there, we got our
yeah.
drill, we stick on there. Next thing you know, it starts rolling down the hood, and you pucker up real hard. You go to jump for it. So we basically have built in a rail using some of the embroidery techniques and some of the well, not embroidery techniques, but some of the upholstery techniques that I've learned from doing custom interior, which is also something that I do. So we decided to put that into the cover and create a nice piped rail down the side of it. So, you know, just a little slide on there, it'll catch on the rail and you're good to go and it'll keep itself on there. So
Love it,
we're
man.
going to
Love
do
it.
that tomorrow.
So you heard it here first. It's getting dropped tomorrow, but it's the micro cover. I was referring to something different, although that's cool that you got the micro cover out. That's
Oh, you're going
coming
to talk
out.
about the next project that's coming down the line?
Talking about the next project that's coming down the line that is like amazing, but this is
Okay.
amazing too. This the micro cover. As you said, you and I discussed a couple of different things. You just asked an opinion. I didn't give any kind of
Yep.
design advice because I don't know anything about this shit. I just said, "Hey Mac, this would be cool." Uh, and Mac, dude, when is the what's that thing? Is it the Longhorn or something like that? You had talked
Oh,
about at
God.
one point.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
I
yeah,
still have to check with Jason and make sure he's okay with me calling it that
yeah,
because I kind of am naming it after him. So
yeah,
I mean, man, I've got a few things on the docket that are coming down because I've just been kind of, well, you said I don't stop. I just kind of keep going, going, and going. You and I are similar to that. My brain doesn't turn off at night. So,
yeah. Mine
one
does.
of the things that, yeah, one of the things that I'm finalizing too is, as long as Jason Horn is okay with it. So maybe he'll hit me up after this, but, I'm also going to be building or hopefully getting out soon is going to be a shield specifically for doing side moldings and roof lines for for using the wire tool that's going to help protect those side mounts a little bit easier. I've always loved the WRD one because it's flexible and small, but I know a lot of guys
Mhm.
like something with a little more girth on it. So you and I talked about this a little bit. So I'm going to build ones for, two separate ones for the dash for the corner specifically. And I've got one for the top and the one on the top that's going to go top and sides. I want to name it the Longhorn after Jason Horn because one of his biggest pet peeves is displacing side moldings when
Oh
you're
yes.
so I want to name it after him just because of that, because I think it'd be funny. And the shape of it kind of has a horn shape to it. It kind of looks like longhorns on a steer. So that'll be pretty cool. And I think the other thing you're talking about too is going to be coming out down the pike here soon is going to be an updated hood cover that's going to be a
Mhm.
separate hood cover because I'm not getting rid of the original one, but it'll be
Mhm.
a hood cover that's designed to go with the Pro Set. So your
Yep.
Pro Set will be able to mount directly on top of the cover, but you'll still have some style with it, and you'll still have all the bells and whistles that the other one has.
Yeah, that
So
cover right there is something that I believe all of us that have a Curbow cover, hood cover, or a hood cover of any sort, whether it be a drop cloth, because you and I are big on vehicle protection. Like
yeah, yeah,
we don't care if you're using a drop cloth, we don't care if you're using a moving blanket, we don't care if you're using
right.
plastic seat covers, we don't care as long as you're protecting the vehicle is the main thing. But one of the
Hard.
hardest things with the Pro Set is that you had to attach it to the hood, then you had to flip your cover up, but still not into the line of the rail. So if you can figure that out, you're a damn genius. I know that I have dropped it. I've dropped that idea on you a couple times, and I know I'm not the only one that's hit you up about it. Plenty of people have hit you up saying, "Hey, when
Yep.
something comes." So I'm excited to hear that there's something coming for the Pro Set on the in the hood cover. That's awesome. I think
Yep.
that that's going to be a great addition. Not gonna lie, I'm pretty stoked on that one. That's
Yeah, the
that.
the Pro Set cover at this point right now is literally just waiting on a name and for me to do the final stitching on it where I'm happy with it because one of the things like you just said that didn't mess anything up. There we go.
Mm.
Sorry. I'm on my
Yeah,
phone doing this. It's and then do it on
yeah,
the computer.
yeah, we got
But
what we caught was one of the things you said is about it, is where you stopped.
oh, all right, get back to my train of thought here. Sorry, ADHD guys, it's all over the place. You're going to learn this a lot on the pod. I'm all over the place with this stuff. But yeah, so what one of the biggest things for me is going to be fine tuning it. I've got to come up with a good name for it, but I want to make sure that it's done because one of the things that you and I have always done a lot of is protect the vehicle, protect the vehicle, protect the vehicle, and that kind of stuff. But the reason that I do what I do with Curbo covers is because for me, it's not just about protecting the vehicle; it's about style because I want to
Yeah.
look good while I do it. You know what I mean? So, like, you and I both have used everything out there,
Hmm.
and anything will work to keep the vehicle protected, and you should protect your vehicle. But for me, I always wanted to stand out, so I'm not going to put anything on the market until it looks good and is functional. It's got to do both. It's got to be 100% functional, solve an issue, and then it has to look good while you're doing it because if you don't look good it's going to be silly. It's like the covers that I'm making for the Autoglass University right now, that those I'm not going to do much on because I'm going to tease that when those actually come in
Yeah.
because it might start a whole new thing that we're going to be doing. But if you're not making a statement while you're working, then your branding's off. You know what I mean?
Well,
'Cause branding's everything when you're running a small business.
100%. And I like what you said there with the brandings, everything, but also in the automotive industry, for a long time it was like you were tucked back in a corner and you
Mhm.
were, they sold the car and the actual repair shop didn't really do much but maintenance and stuff. Now it's
Mhm.
completely flipped. Like
Yeah.
maintenance on the car is where you're getting all your love and work on the car. And so if you're able to provide that little bit of flair, and in today's world of TikTok and of being yourself and adding your own personal touch to things, um,
Mhm.
the if you could have something on your vehicle that is customized that really pops, that really draws attention to the eye. There's people that are driving down the road while you're doing your replacement or repair, and they got a crack across their window, and they see that, and they're just like, "What the? I ain't seen nothing like that." And then they see your logo, and they're like, "Oh, I need to call them." So it was a quick little reminder. So, and I don't know if anybody's noticed this, but I have attention for. I have a I guess you would say a love of colors and flair. So for me to stand out and pop is really cool. So I
Yeah.
definitely agree with you there. So I definitely like to have some style to whatever it is I'm doing. Um, But
Yeah, it's
yeah,
funny.
man.
You would have seen. I wish I would have saved some of the early pictures when I first started doing the cover, the hood cover, the fender cover. So the first cover I ever made, this is the fender cover because I
Mm.
wanted something to go around it. But it was never the plan to make a company out of it. So I just kind of was making them, trying them out. This didn't work. I didn't like this. I didn't like this material. Didn't what all that kind of stuff. So I mean, I went through 4 different iterations. But the very first one, it was it looked like the car was wearing an N95 mask because what I had done is I decided I wanted it to be like tight fit, like tight fit. So it actually was elastic on the top and the bottom, and it was like a wraparound and everything. So that it worked great, but I just couldn't get over how goofy as hell it looked when it was on there. Uh, and I was like, "There's no way." And then I saw when I that was the first one I made, and I put it on there, and I'm looking at the front of them like there's so much room here for a big ass logo. And then my first thought was, but it'll look like crap because the top is cinched and the bottom is cinched, going to be all wrinkly. And I went completely back to the drawing table because I'm like, I've got to have something that fits on the top, but then drapes nicely. And then, yeah, it was funny. And then hell, actually I have the second one I made, or not the second one, the third one I ever made. I'll have to bring that out and show it off one of
Yeah.
these days because
Yeah.
that one is funny because it's got colors. That's why I decided not to do colors because the colors were great, but they get dirty so easily, and you get like your primer gets on there. As soon as it gets dirty, it looks like crap. So if you've got like a color one, it's cool, and we could totally do it and all that kind of stuff. And there's other people out there doing it, but the problem is unless it's like only for a certain thing, as soon as it gets dirty, you look dirty. And that was my biggest thing with it. So this one actually is pretty beat up and dirty, but it was because I was with Novus back then. So it was blue and black and all that kind of totally different strat system on there. Like you can kind of almost see the evolution, but that was actually the one that kind of started everything. So I hung on to it because that was the one that I was using, before Auto Glass Week.
Mm.
And that was the one that I sent out to Whacker
Yeah.
is with the final version when I updated it for that and it said, here, tell me what you think about this. And then that's when it all kind of took off from there. But yeah, it's funny how you kind of go back and forth on the drawing boards like that. Cause it's the same thing with like you, like, it's like when you're doing your racing and stuff, dude, like you didn't just go hit it full bore. You kind of test a little bit and you kind of eat into it a little bit and you kind of feel the waters out before you really open it up. And
Hmm.
same thing with everything else.
Yeah, no, dude. And like I remember seeing them for the first time in 2019 when we all came and showed up to compete. And I remember you had them and then Jeff had them. And
Mhm.
I remember asking Jeff about it. And then it took a minute, you know what I mean? But then you and I finally got hooked up and you made my set for me. My set, you made the bat belt, the
Mhm.
fender covers, and then the seat covers for me. And then I purchased a hood cover later on off of Bradford because he had gotten a new one.
Mhm.
So it just, the evolution of it. But I remember seeing that in 2019, and I was just like, "Oh my god, that is so fucking." Because I was using moving blankets during the competition. I still have pictures of it. You know what I mean? It's like, oh man, yeah, you know. And then the next year, I went away from the moving blankets and went to those Amazon,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
$29 things, and and then in Orlando, that was in Orlando, and then in San Antonio, I actually had went back to the um, moving blankets. And then
Mhm.
in 23, I had my covers. So, 23 was definitely the latch. And then, it was definitely the step up. And I think because I'd had them for about a year at that point. Because
Mhm.
I think I got the covers right after Auto Gloss Week in 2022. October, I think I got the videos up online somewhere because it's one of the first videos I put out when I joined social media. Um, and yeah, I remember that used them for about a year, and it was like literally I got a customer because of them.
Mhm.
Like
Yeah.
really, because
Yeah.
there was a manager was arguing with the service writer why he called in Richardson, and this was at a Toyota dealer in Heath, Ohio, and because we were more expensive, and he was like, "You remember what that guy out there last time was doing, right?" Yeah, and he's
Mhm.
like walked out and he's like, "Look at this motherfucker! Look at this! This motherfucker's got this car wrapped up. Ain't shit happened to it. Customer looks at this. This is where it's at. This is professional. Customer sitting in there watching him, and he's got all
Uh,
this. He's like, that's why. That's why I call him because yeah, it's a little bit extra, but look at that." And I remember
mhm.
his name was Mitch Green. I'll never forget that motherfucker because he was just like, he just brought his manager out and just laid it like, look, that guy over
Yeah.
there, he was in out here in 20 minutes. Yeah, he was in out here in 20 minutes. And we had to redo it 3 times. and he
Yep.
didn't do a single thing. This right here, this month. I was just like, oh man, come on, Mitch. He's like, but that's why I call you. That's why I call you. So, but yeah, so it actually kept a customer for me, and we ended up getting all of their service work after that one because of, just little things like that. Just because it made me look like I was a bigger professional than I actually was. So,
Which is crazy too, because it's like in the grand scheme of things, like one of the things that I always look at too, at least for myself, like when you've been doing it for a long time, you can count you I mean, most of the guys that are really good can count on one hand how many cars they've actually like scratched or damaged or anything like that.
mhm,
But what's interesting about it is the customer's posture changes so much because it's not even so much that like it's almost like at least for me early on when I was starting to use covers, it was not because I was scratching cars. It was because the customer's perspective. I started to realize like, hey, they look at me differently when I do these things. If I
mhm,
go out to the car and I put an apron on, they instantly look at me differently, right? When I vacuum the car when I'm done, they look at me differently. When I'm using proper techniques, or I mean, like, no, this is not even say proper techniques. If I don't look like an idiot going out there with a giant oscillating tool beaten out of it, can we all do that? Use that tool and not damage the car? Hell yeah! Like we've done it
yep,
for years. Dude, I know you and I both. We foresighted before when we had to before wire tools came out. Like remember the Jetta when it
mhm,
first came out? You had no room to get a cold knife in there. It's like, well, I guess I'm extracting the whole thing. And could you do it without damaging it? Yeah, because you learned how to use that tool like a surgeon. The problem is not necessarily the tech as much as it is the customer's perspective of the tech because they
right,
don't know that you can do that well. You don't, well, like we almost have to like get out of our own heads at some point in time at sometimes and say, how do we actually look when we're doing this? Because we think in our head, oh, I look awesome. I'm a badass. I can do all these things, right? But then at the same time, it's like, what is that customer's perspective on that? Like, what do I look like to them? And it's like sometimes the steps that we take, we may not cost us ourselves any time, or it might take a few more minutes, but that using a tool that the customer is going to perceive as better is 9/10 of the battle with that customer if something goes wrong, or with
mhm,
that customer when you go out there. I mean, when I started doing this, I think you and I've talked about this a lot on the podcast internally. I looked like I was 12 when I started doing this. I've
yeah,
always had a baby face. I'm almost 40 now. If I shave, I could probably go back to high school if I didn't have the bald spot on the back of my head, right? But like when I started doing this, I was 21, dude. I'll have to, well, maybe we'll throw that picture up of me when
please,
I started this because, dude, like you're, there's nothing like going out and getting you look like you're fresh, just got out of high school. You go show up at somebody's house to do that. They're not going to trust you. So you kind of have to earn that trust a little bit. And that's really what got me down that whole path. That's when I started wearing aprons and tucking my shirt in and making sure my tools were clean and all that kind of stuff. And it's like you could take two guys, same quality of work, but you put one guy in a clean situation, clean van, clean tools, organized, wearing PPE, all that kind of stuff compared to the guy that can do the same amount of work, but maybe he's using techniques that have more risk to him, or maybe he's using techniques that are a little bit more sketchy. Maybe he's climbing up and standing on the rocker panel, leaning against the door, and the other guy's getting out a ladder or a step stool. Like, what does that look like on the back end? You know what I mean? It's just for me, it was huge to get that perspective change. And a lot
mhm,
of that too for my flagging early on of what this perspective was, honestly, wasn't even my own into it, like me looking at it and saying, oh, I'm so smart. I'm going to figure this out. No, no, not even close. The furthest of it. It was just the 400th customer that would ask me, hey, do you have that cool tool that Safelite uses that moves the thing around the bar? It was those guards. You can use that really cool contraption they used to cut the wire out. And here I am holding a cold knife in my hand, and I had a homemade setting stick made from a 1x2. Like, you get enough to feel like just a piece of crap when you're out there, and I'm like, oh. So, and then the first time I used the WRD bat, and a customer's
mhm.
like, oh, what's that? And they're like wanting to get in the car with me. I'm like, okay, this is the tool I'm using from now on. Like this is the one. I'll just suffer and deal with everything else, and I'll take maybe an extra minute or so as I learn and all that kind of stuff. But that was it for me. I don't know about you, but that was the moment for me where I'm like, okay, this is the
I
right path.
had I had a pretty good work environment as far as accountability when it came to making sure that the customer's perspective was good, except for they didn't wear uniforms. it's a
Mm.
t-shirt and a pair of jeans or a t-shirt and whatever. That's the company didn't really care. And when I came in and I re-interviewed, because I worked there once and then I came back. And when I came back, when I worked there, I said, "Is there any way I can get a uniform?" And he was like, "Yeah, if you pay for it, I don't care." I was like, "Cool." So, started coming out of my check weekly, and I got to pick the uniform colors. I got to pick everything. And just because I know the way people looked at me when I was in a t-shirt and when they looked at me when I was in a uniform, when it came out to talking about a problem, it had nothing to do for me when I was talking about a normal installation. You know what I mean? I show up at their house in a pair of jeans and a t-shirt. That was good. It was when I was talking to them about a problem that they either
Hmm.
had with the previous company or a problem they had, you know what I mean, like a leak or something, you know what I mean, that I may have caused or whatever, or, just something simple. When
You
I
heard it
was in
here,
a
here,
uniform,
guys. James is out there causing leaks.
oh, 100%. Yeah, all day long. It just rains in there, you know? But so like for me, it was like just the way the customer looked at me when I was in a uniform, they paid attention
Uh-huh.
to what I said. They really did. When I was in a t-shirt, they were just like, "Ah, this clown." But also, I had a really good mentor of mine who really explained it to me when it comes to looking professional. Obviously, that saying that I sent to you, 50 Cent saying about you see yourself as, what I mean, how you become or whatever. So you see yourself as a professional, you become a professional, but it was Bob Branning. He said to me that the customer has no idea whether you did a good job or not, but you're judged by how you clean up. And he wasn't just talking about how you cleave the vehicle, he was talking about how you looked when you showed up as well.
Yep.
And
Hmm.
because they have no idea if you did it, but they know what you looked like and they know what the job looked like when you left.
Yep.
And if you did a shit job, but you looked good and you cleaned up good, they thought
Hmm.
you were the greatest thing in the world. And so that when Bob told me that, and man, that's been a long time ago. Let me tell you, I'm getting old, God, Jesus. But like when Bob told me that, it was another reinforcement because at that point I'd already been covering vehicles and I'd already been taping off exposed areas and already been wearing a uniform. But when he said that, it just drove the point home of, hey, dude, like you really got to make sure that your customers are seeing you,
Yep.
like and not seeing you. I'm not telling you to lose your sense of style at all. You
Hmm.
want to wear basketball shorts and a gym shirt on the weekend, please do so. You want to add a little bit of flair to your uniforms because you got that pop, do that, you know what I mean? But there's that line that you have to walk, and showing up in basketball shorts and a t-shirt, basketball shorts and a wife beater, basketball shorts and anything, or just you know for me my big pet peeve is blue jeans. I don't I don't like when
Yeah.
folks wear blue jeans. I just don't. It for me it just for me it's just one of those little bit of like I know it's not terrible, but in the same sense, because I love blue jeans. I wear
Well,
blue
let's
jeans in
just
my
talk
personal
about blue
life.
jeans for a second. Like, I'm with you. I kind of agree with you. I'm not a fan of Tex wearing blue jeans. Mainly, it's because of the buckles. Believe like I've actually had to have a car repainted because of a Tex blue jeans before, because the buckle. He's a heavier set guy. Buckles were outside of his apron, and he was rubbing up against the sides of the car, no protection, and sure enough, it gouged it just enough where we had to repaint it. But for me, what my thing was with blue jeans. I used to love wearing blue jeans at work, and then I started wearing slacks because I had to. It wasn't like a choice; like I had to. And dude, when it's like, I'm in the desert, like I'm in Washington, but I'm Eastern Washington. You've been here before. It's low
Hmm.
desert. There's no tree coverage or none of them. When it's 115 degrees outside and you can see the heat in the in the like you can literally see it in the air, right? I'll tell you what, there's a big difference between blue jeans and like wearing blue jeans and wearing like work pants, like black cargo pants, or in my case slacks. They breathe so much better because I don't do shorts either. I'm a white boy. I'm clear. So if I wear shorts, I scare little children. So I wear pants all the time. So when it's 150 degrees outside, I'm wearing pants and jeans, dude. I was significantly cooler wearing work pants. That was what sold me. I was like, okay, I'm not wearing jeans anymore. Doing this sucks in jeans.
Yeah, and the new work pants that are out by Red Cap and Dickies and stuff,
Those
they're
look
the moisture
nice.
wicking. Yeah, they're the moisture
Uh-huh.
wicking, real lightweight. They
Yep.
move with you. So the
And
the
it's
work
sketchy.
pants. Yeah, and they're stretchy. The work pants are definitely the way to go for sure. But we're coming up on 30 minutes. Like to keep it to 30 minutes or less. But thanks for coming on. Thanks for giving us the go ahead on the podcast. I can't wait for that to start dropping. We're going to call that show with Mac Painfully Honest, because we're just going to talk about the articles and talk about things that are going on in our lives in the industry and everything. So with that, I've been James Chapman and he's been Matt Curbow, and thank you for listening.
Bye, everybody.